Hi, welcome to COIS 3828, Module 3, Stored Program Computers. Okay, so what's the purpose of this module? Well, we're going to start seeing some computers that look a little like they do now. They're still big, huge things that are room size, but at least they're moving towards the direction of what we have now. Introduce you to some important pioneers in the computing world, specifically John von Neumann. Also show you some of the dirty dealings that came along with the world of technology, certainly all the lawsuits between von Neumann and all the others who claimed that the architecture was their idea, when in fact they all contributed part to the architecture, but the way the world is, somebody has to get credit, and that wound up being John von Neumann. The impact on society from the computers of this age, again, it's very huge, the concept of being able to store a program. The computers we have now wouldn't be able to do hardly any of the things they do now without being able to store the programs, without being able to change between programs quickly, as opposed to having to rewire the computer every time we want to change a program. So pioneers of computing, John von Neumann, very, very important. His von Neumann architecture is what allows us to use computers the way we do now. It allows us to use software, allows us to use programs. A couple of his rivals, Eckert and Mauchly, also were working on the same thing, and many people think that they should have got the credit for the von Neumann architecture. And they went to court a few times. It turns out that the court agreed that it should be von Neumann's architecture. Max Newman and F.C. Williams over in England were also working on developing computers at the same time, along with Maurice Wilks, again in the UK. Some of the famous computers from this time period, EDVAC, ENIAC, EDZAC, the Manchester Mark I. Again, these are still room-sized computers using vacuum tubes, huge sizes, very slow, not very powerful, but certainly leading us in the direction of where we are now, especially with the concept of storing a program. So this is the von Neumann architecture, the idea of having a memory which stores not just data, but the instructions, the actual program. You have a CPU, which has an arithmetic logic unit, which basically does all the adding and subtracting, and the logic operations like ands and ors. We have some registers for short-term storage, control logic that makes sure that programs actually execute the way they're supposed to execute, make sure that the instructions run in the right sequence. We have an input device so that we as humans can interact with the computer, output devices so we can get some feedback from the computer. But the key point is having a memory which holds data and instructions.